an open session. So with that being said, we're going to call on Sean O'Day, the Executive Director of the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments. Sean's been with us, I think, is this the second or
third or fourth? Yeah.
Yeah, that we've been utilizing Sean. And so, Sean, welcome. It's always good to see you. We appreciate our partnership with the COG and all that you guys are doing. So welcome, and we'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your membership in the Council of Governments. For those who may be watching on TV, I'll just give a brief introduction. For those who are not aware, I like to describe the Council of Governments as being to local governments what a Chamber of Commerce is to local business. We exist, and our footprint is Polk, Yamhill, and Marion County. We exist to bring local governments within those three counties together to help solve regional problems. We also provide a host of programs and services to help strengthen units of local government, and that's what brings me here tonight. One of the things that we do for our members is we help facilitate the evaluation of the Chief Executive Officer or any other direct reports that a city council might have, such as a city attorney, because we recognize that sometimes having your HR director perform that service is a little awkward in facilitating the evaluation of their boss, and it can also be a little awkward for the city manager or the city attorney to try to facilitate their own. So we've opted to step in to help councils do that function. And as the mayor said, I think this is either our third or perhaps fourth time doing it for you. I may be thinking of your city attorney evaluation I did a couple of years ago. So with that, the process that we used, very consistent with the process that we've used the last couple of times. There is an online survey that the council fills out. We've used the same set of questions year after year so that you can track the progression of performance for both the city manager and for yourselves. The city manager also conducts a self-evaluation by filling out the same form, and we then aggregate the council's responses into a report that I think everybody now has, and I apologize. There was a little bit of a miscommunication on our end as to who was going to get that out to the council, but I believe all of you have now had a chance to at least peruse it, if not look at it in depth. And that chart, the report produces a chart. I'll just scroll through here, kind of giving you an example that creates a bar chart that shows the average council weighting, as well as the city manager self-evaluation noted by an asterisk. And then in table format down below, it shows you the actual breakdown of responses. In summary, the average council weighting in all areas was either meets or exceeds job standards, and in many areas, the average weighting went into the outstanding area. There were a few questions where there were a couple of members of council that rated the manager a little bit lower, but again, overall, the average was either meets or exceeds in all cases, and then outstanding in most. We received 6 members of council, including the mayor, had filled out the evaluation, so we had a high participation rate this year, and I greatly appreciate that. That really concludes my part of the opening comments with regard to the evaluation. At this point, Mayor, I'll turn it back to you to see if perhaps you want to ask the city manager if he has any comments about the evaluation, or members of council, and we can go from there.
Thank you, Sean. I know we had an opportunity to see input that Jeff gave to the council prior to us filling out this evaluation, so we kind of got his perspective of his performance somewhat. But at this point, Jeff, I'd like you to, if you would like to address the council, and then we'll open it up for questions and discussion.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I appreciate the thoughtful comments, and I appreciate the support. I view the overall results as positive and relatively consistent. I think with respect to both the rankings and some of the comments, it gives me an opportunity to continue to improve and address the needs that the council has in the community. I do think that a number of the comments that are included are actually, I would say there are no surprises here really for me because they've been the topic of conversations either at council meetings or during one-on-one sessions that I've had with the counselors over the course of the year. So I feel like this is a fair assessment of the work that I do on behalf of the council. I appreciate the support and the constructive criticism. We've already identified a couple of things that we'll try to do better and differently in the coming year. The addition of more structured one-on-one meetings with all members of the council is one example. Reinstituting a dinner meeting for the council at least once a month after the first of the year is something that we've talked about at this table, and a continued focus on moving forward with the strategic plan. So with that, I just want to thank you for your attention and your support. There are some areas where I think my self-evaluation was overly optimistic, and a couple of cases where I was maybe a little harder on myself than you are, and so that makes me feel like we're pretty much on the same page, and that while it's interesting and challenging to work for 7 unique and disparate individuals, I do think that this council does a good job setting their expectations for me as a body, and I hope that you find that overall I'm meeting those expectations, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Jeff. At this point, I would, again, we've had an opportunity to look at the results. I'd open up for any questions of Sean or anything that we'd like to ask Jeff at this particular time. So I'll just go and open it up and Wendy?
I put most of my comments on here on the evaluation, but I would like to say that I think there's a lot of things that are really going well, and I think that the things that we can improve on, there's a shared responsibility of things that the city council can improve on, as well as Jeff and how we work together and how cohesive we are as a council. And I think there's a lot of great ideas that we're coming up with to address those things. So it's really a work in progress for all of us. So I really appreciate the dialogue. I think it's been a challenging year, and we've addressed it and faced it and learned a lot from it, all of us. So I would like to express my appreciation to Jeff for the work that he's done this year in facing everything that we've faced together. And I'm looking forward to working on trying out some new ideas.
Thank you, Wendy. Any other comments? Adam?
I'd just say, Jeff, I personally am happy to have you, and I think the review reflects that, and I definitely appreciate, you not just giving yourself all 5s. I think that shows some transparency on your end, and where you already knew you could improve, and the comments that us counselors made in this review, I read through and appreciate all your guys' insight in that.
Thank you, Adam. Other comments?
Personally, I think you've done a very good job this year. It's an exceedingly tough year. I personally think you've done a very good job this year. I have thought a lot about this in the last month. Certainly everything has not gone the way I wished it would, but by the same token, I feel like you've put a tremendous amount of energy, thought, and ingenuity into everything you've done. So that is my perspective.
Thank you, Kelly. I'll go ahead and I have an opportunity to meet one-on-one with Jeff every Monday morning, and we take anywhere from an hour or more as we kind of take a look at a perspective of what had happened the prior week and what we're looking at and issues. And I so much appreciate that opportunity. It's a high priority. If I make sure that I'm in town on Mondays usually, unless we're going somewhere quite far away. We've had a very difficult a number of issues this coming year. And I think we've learned tremendously as a city and as a council body. I think I'll refer a little bit to Wendy. You know, as a council, we're still trying to understand our dynamics and who and what each of us are like and how we can be more unified. And I think as I look forward to 2020, having more unity among the council and having more dialogue with our city manager. I see an opportunity as we get back to our dinner discussions, having more of an opportunity to unify ourselves, and I'm looking at some real good opportunities from that perspective. I appreciate so very much Jeff's willingness to meet one-on-one with anyone in the council at intervals that are appropriate for you. And I'll tell you, one of the strengths that I made mention of is his ability to build a team. And I look at our hires, and he's built a strong team to support the work that this city's involved in. And his years of experience has brought tremendous value from my perspective in that arena. His knowledge and his reach is widespread. If he doesn't have a feel for a specific direction, he can reach out and pull on peers from around the United States and internationally even, and I appreciate that so very much. One thing that I would have for the council, and I think this is so critical, and we talk about this every year, this evaluation is a two-part evaluation. We mark 1 to 5 as we see, but I think more importantly are the comments that are there. Those are the things that can give some dimension to the 1 to 5 rating. And you know, I share that as we really you know, take a look at this one time, you know, of the year where we evaluate, those comments are so critical. And so with that, those are my feelings. I thank Jeff. We've got a great partnership. I think, you know, we've had the rocky road, but we've had so many good solutions this year that I think can be seen by our peers throughout the state as ways to solve difficult problems. And so with that, I'll again ask anybody else if they have any comments. Any closing from you, Jeff?
No, just thank you very much.
Sean, any closing comments?
I just want to reiterate, Mayor, that from a regional perspective, this council, your city manager in this city is looked at as a leader in this region on many, many issues. And you set the gold standard in a lot of ways, including how you facilitate this process. So thank you very much for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Again, Sean, thank you so much for your ability to pull this all together for us. And with that, I'll go ahead and close our work session. And we will open council meeting at 7 o'clock. So we've got a good 25 minutes. Wow. This is unlike time.
Did you want to chat? No, just let me grab my stuff.